Good morning, and thank you for joining us. I'm Alero Edu, and this is Sunrise.
I'm Makine. Good morning. It's a Saturday morning, just in case you forgot, and that's the only time we wear this.
If it is Saturday morning, then it is Sunrise.
Yes, just say, sometimes, wait a minute.
And what is the date?
Today's date is 26/10/2024. You remember your primary school?
Good morning, teacher. Good morning, friends. Well, it is not a laughing matter at all. When you remember that helicopter crash that happened on a Thursday morning, it was very sad, and our hearts and our thoughts and our condolences go out to the families involved. People going about their normal business, and that happens. Ayo.
I'm lost for words, and that's the honest truth.
Going to make their daily bread.
I'm lost for words. We don't even know now, up until now, what really
caused
happened.
It. Yes.
And they still they need to get some information from the equipment. That's the chopper, and the NSIB continues to say the same thing over and over again. From available information, the helicopter, as at the time of the crash, had quite some fuel. Because when we asked the NSIB DG, look, information says that this equipment, this chopper, had more than 2 hours of fuel. So that's a lot of fuel. Okay.
Wow.
Could it have exploded? Said they can't speculate now. So I guess we just have to wait. But it's something that he continued to reiterate, that air travel remains the safest means of transportation.
Indeed.
In the entire world. So, but we just wait. We just wait.
Yes. When our president tells us that they're traveling around the world trying to invite foreign direct investment, we begin to wonder, because the MAN, the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, put out this piece of information that in 2023, at least 767 manufacturers shut down operations, and about 335 became distressed. So if you're an investor, when you hear this kind of news, are you going to be in a hurry to pack your stuff from wherever you are to come and invest in Nigeria?
Well, first of all, one bit of good news, a glimmer of hope.
One little bit, yes.
The woman who is now Minister for Trade and Industry, or Trade and Investment, was the head of PEBEC, the Presidential Enabling Business Environment Council.
Okay.
They were the agency charged with ensuring, in the VP's office at the time, ensuring
ease of doing
business in the country. Of course, it was a World Bank initiative, but World Bank stopped that ease of doing business indexing. But Nigeria held on to it for a while. I don't know if we still have it. So maybe now that she's a minister, hopefully confirmed by the Senate,
yes,
we will be able to handle some of those issues. But one thing that a good number of them have said is a major challenge in the area of doing business is the number of taxes that they have.
37 of them, if I remember correctly, when one manufacturer came on this program.
Good. Now, we also know that the federal government is talking with the National Assembly to work out a way of ensuring that, look, can we just bring this all down to manageable bite sizes, or at least just one bite size?
How did you get to 37 for
federal government?
Pete's sake.
Federal government, state government. In fact, one of the things that we've
37?
One of the things
that's enough to kill any business.
One of the things that we've heard, Madam, be calming down.
Becoming, yes, that video was trending again in the course of the week.
So one of the things that we've heard is there are some agencies of government that have no business generating revenue. If every agency is supposed to be generating revenue, please, what's the job of FIRS? Customs is generating revenue, immigration is generating revenue, you just name it.
Ministry of Trade.
Ministry of this one, everyone in ministry, department, agency, they are all generating revenue. So what then is the job of the Ministry of Finance? What's the job of the Ministry of Trade and Investments?
No, they're supposed to generate small one to add to the one that the Ministry of Finance is generating.
And so one of the things that I think the FIRS, the head of the FIRS now was proposing at the National Assembly, to the National Assembly Committee is, look, really, each of these agencies shouldn't have a budget in any account to be spending money. Get your invoice, get all the approvals that needs to be gotten,
send them to the Ministry of...
Send them to the Accountant General's office.
Okay.
And he is the one that should be paying.
Disbursing.
Because in every organization, does the Department of Procurement, do they disburse money? No, they don't disburse money. Does the Department of Communication? Or the Department of what again? Even the office of the CEO uses the Accountant General's office to disburse money. So why can't we do the same for the federal government? So we're waiting. I don't know. That means that they have to deal with a lot of laws to ensure that those things are changed. But I guess we're waiting.
That won't take too long.
Whether or not that will even happen is another thing, Alero.
That won't take too long. If we really mean business, it shouldn't take too long.
You don't understand. Why am I in office if I cannot approve money? And sorry.
No, things have to start changing if we want to move forward.
So that we can have renewed hope, Abi.
Yes.
Okay. Next question. Why you suddenly your pace got down again?
Yes.
Okay. It's all about the leadership, the mindsets that we create, all about the mindsets that we create.
Oh, yes, the president's cabinet in the course of the week.
Yeah.
Yes.
A whole lot of them they need to still go through the National Assembly. And people have been talking about
the ones that are the newly
about 7 or
suggested ones. What about the 5 that were removed? What are your thoughts on that?
They were removed. Zafawa to hire and
fire belongs to the president.
The president, yawa.
The president shall hire and fire. Oh, okay. All right. Be like that then.
Is that what you are writing?
Yes.
Oh, by the way, the word of the day. Caterwall. I don't want anyone caterwauling all over the place. What does that mean?
And please use it in a sentence and send it to us via X.
Well, we're going to have to doctor that a little bit, but I guess we'll get to it in a moment or two, just so you know. So, caterwaul.
Yes.
That's the word of the day.
And I reminded us last week, and I'm going to remind us for some time to come, what Jean-Jacques Rousseau said, when the people shall have nothing more to eat, they shall eat the rich.
But for now, the people are caterwauling. Okay, so we're talking about leadership recruitment process. That's the number one thing that we'll be talking about this morning.
And is there any reason why we shouldn't be talking about the red line operations?
When are you going to get on that?
Which were launched last week.
When are you going to get on it?
Soon. I'm yet to get on the blue one. I keep threatening that I will on a public holiday or something.
Are you threatened?
Yes. I'll get to it, It's in my bucket list.
Okay. And then we'll be looking at local government laws, administrations, and all, because we have local governments, we have LCDAs all over the nation, so more of that coming.
And then there is a mindful solution to cancer. We'll be looking at that. in detail this morning.
You would even be shocked what one of the major root causes of cancer is when we get there. And the artist of the week is
a he.
Okay.
He is a he.
Let me not say more than that. But why do you have to say that all the time? He is a he.
Okay, what is he then?
I don't know. Caterwall.
I hope he's not watching, so I hope he didn't hear that, because he certainly will have something to say about that when he shows up this morning. So, in the meantime, stop caterwauling, get your coffee or cocoa.
Or cocoa.
And watch sunrise till the end this morning. See you in just a moment. Thank you for joining us this beautiful Saturday morning, the last Saturday in the month of October. The issue of leadership recruitment at all levels of governance in Nigeria is central to our current predicament. Getting it right is key to the resolution of our poor governance and development process. Months after growing calls for President Bola Tinubu to rejig his cabinet, the former Lagos State governor on Wednesday sacked 5 of his ministers. He reassigned 10 to new ministerial portfolios and appointed 7 new ones for Senate confirmation.
Not to also forget that because you talked about all levels of governance, we had some turbulence before the local government elections in Rivers State. Today, Kano State is having local government elections. You also know all of the drama
that's been going on.
that went on before this morning.
Well, Akwa Ibom went kind of unnoticed.
Unnoticed on the same day as Rivers, by the way.
Yes, because
and Benue.
Rivers took all the shine off everybody else.
And Benue that same day, so...
Rivers took the biscuit, as we say.
Oh, you're not the Akara. So, anyway.
Now, to look at this matter of leadership recruitment with us this morning, I'd like to welcome a leadership consultant, Mr. Olatunji Shobodu. Good morning. And a leadership coach is joining us via Zoom, and he's Mr. Toye Shobande. Good morning, Mr. Shobande.
Good morning. Good to see you again.
Interestingly, both of them are Dr. something or Dr. something. Dr. Shobodu, Dr.
Not
Shobande.
misters. Oh, well, my bad.
Never mind.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Now, we have acknowledged the fact that we're not doing too well in this leadership matter. How do we approach it from here on, after admitting that so far we have not done well?
Well, thank you very much. Well, I mean, leadership is crucial. And I think obviously we can't make much progress unless we find a way to address this particular issue. But first, because we're talking about governance at all levels, we're obviously making reference to the political context, which is a bit different from what you have like in the private or corporate sector.
But that's not to say that there aren't core similarities.
Well, yes, but for now I will speak to the differences. But the context is important. because if you don't bear in mind the context, then you may be attempting to force something that will not work. Okay, the political process has its rules, and they are different from how you would recruit a leader or how you would nominate a leader or appoint a leader in the corporate setting. And that's because in the political process, there is a way participation is different. Now, first of all, if you are not part of a party, you are limited, for example, in the opportunity that you have to hold any leadership position, especially elective positions. All right, the best you could possibly aspire for is maybe like a ministerial appointment or some other pseudo kinds of appointments. And even that, because you are not part of the system, you are limited further. So we must address the issue of, first, who are those that get into the political system? How do people, participate? How do I, for example, become eligible, to be elected into a position? And that means that, the electorate also will have a decision to make. But that decision of the choice of who we vote for will be determined is a secondary decision. What do I mean? Because you can only vote for who the party puts forward.
Yeah.
So the process of how the party presents a candidate becomes crucial. Now, what I think one of the areas that we really need to address is how you get the right people to be a part of that process.
Okay, let me ask Dr. Shobande, do you think we even understand the context of leadership? I'm sure you've listened to Dr. Shobodo also speak to it, but do you think generally, as a people, looking at what he also talked about, the fact that we, the people, the populace, make a secondary decision, do you think generally we understand the context of leadership?
I think we do understand the context of leadership as a people. However, the framework of the understanding is where the problem is. The framework is around strong men and not institutions. And that is where our problem with the understanding of leadership as a concept. We have always viewed leadership from the perspective of strong men. No leadership that is sustainable, that can lead a people to progress and development, can be built or sustained around strong men, but rather strong institutions. And that is where our problem is. So that lack of understanding that there is a need to build leadership around strong institutions and not strong men has been a major limiting factor for us.
Okay.
And when I say that, I'm saying that in the sense that where we don't have a clear definition of leadership criteria, there are no clear definition. The definition and the understanding we have is subjective along ethnic, cultural, and religious lines. But when it comes to national or political development, we have to understand that to establish a leadership recruitment process at all levels, the first point of call is to have a defined leadership criteria around a vision, not personalities.
Okay, quick punctuation there, Dr. Shobandi. Again, taking from what Dr. Shobodo said about the first line of selection, or should I say shortlisting, happens from the political parties. Do you think the political parties themselves, because it's like there are so many people jostling for a job, and the political parties do the shortlisting, so to speak, and put forward certain people for Nigerians to choose from. So do you think even the political parties themselves have understanding of leadership, or do you think they have any idea what you're talking about where you say we need to have certain leadership criteria to determine who the political parties put forward?
Thank you for that question. The same problem permeates itself through the political parties, and that is what is reflective on the society. Because members of the political parties are also people in the society. And where in the political party structure as we have, where there are no defined leadership criteria, how many of the political parties do we have that is built around an ideological framework that benefits the institutions that produce leaders in the nation? Because the political party itself, the selection process is flawed. We see that at every election cycle. And that is when you see all the jostling, the politicking, the internal fractions show up. Because it's not built, for example, the political parties themselves, the criteria we are talking about and the selection process is not built around competencies, and it's not built around representation. It's still built around this strong man effect and not regard or respect for institutions. Also, it's not built around value systems. There are no clear value systems. So I always say that currently in Nigeria, we don't have a political party that is being structured around an ideological framework. That ideological framework is what now produced the criteria for the selection process. And that selection process have to identify the skills of the people, the experiences, the qualities required for effective leadership, with integrity, with vision, with problem-solving abilities. When all of those are not clearly defined, it becomes blurred with a lot of ethnic and religious permutations and calculations. And that is where the problem is with the political party itself. The political parties sometimes have constitutions or have processes, but yet they take themselves to court. There are internal fractions between one party. And we've seen that, over the years. For example, you remember many years in Rivers State where Governor Amechi, emerged as the governor based on the Supreme Court ruling after his own party member was installed as governor. Yet there's a lot of debate around that. So that shows us clearly that the current political structure that we have along the lines of the political parties do not have a defined leadership selection criteria. Rather, they have a subjective leadership criteria within the strong men of the political party. And those strong men are usually those who finance.
Dr. Shobani, thank you. Dr. Shobani, when we talk about these issues this way, my mind always goes back to the previous republics that we have had. We had a situation where, I remember someone showing me the membership card for UPN in the Second Republic. In fact, I think I also saw something of another person for Action Group in the First Republic. And I also know that that's what, went on in those periods. So we had a situation where leaders encouraged, mobilized their people to join certain political parties and, championed everything. What do you think may have been responsible for the degrading that we seem to have had over time?
Well, I think that, with regard to the point that Doctor has been making about institutions, the institutions will not throw up a quality process beyond that of the quality of participation. You won't have an institution that is better than the quality of the membership. And one of the things that you find is who are those who belong to parties. Many of those you would love to be a part of the process, who have something to offer because of their exposure, because they are the ones that can relate to these issues of having ideology, having core values and stuff. They don't join the process. They are not part of the process. It's like considering.
Why is that?
Well, those are the issues that we have to address. You can't stay out of the process and expect change. We'll be fooling ourselves. if there is a system that's in place, and the only way that, you know, this system we know to produce the leadership, all right, you have to play according to the rules. There is no way of emerging, you know, into a leadership position without being part of that system. What we tend to do most times is that we speak against the system, we, you know, play down the system and all of that. And let me use this illustration, you know, drawing from what I call office politics. All right. And, you know, you find typically technocrats, those who, you know, would take the position, I want my work to speak for me, my skill, my competence, and all of that. And so they stay out of, you know, the politics of the workplace, and they tell you, no, it is evil, it is this, it is that. But the reality of it is that every organization has its rules. There's a way things are done. There are many stakeholders, all right? You can't play in a political setting as a technocrat and expect to win. Why? Because you are trying to play contrary to the rules or oblivious of the rules. So it's the same thing. We speak a great deal against the system. The average person speaks against the political system, but the reality is that the emergence of leadership is via that same system. All right? It's via that same system. And the peculiarities of that system is that there are many stakeholders, you know, who have individual interests, whose interests tend to conflict for the most part. So we need to get that, to have that understanding that until you are a part of the system, you can't change it. Until you are a part of the system and you learn to play according to the rules, you can't change it. The truth is, technocrats won't win within a political context. The political context is for politicians. Unfortunately, we label politicians differently. You know, yes, we know the categories that really offer no value. But the real politician is one who understands that there are many stakeholders and interests, and each one has a responsibility for pursuing his interests.
I'm wondering how many of them we have. Don't answer that question yet.
With you, Dr. Shobande said earlier that the selections of the political parties are flawed. How do we then get to a place where the political parties throw up credible people, people who have experience in leadership, who are going to bring that experience to bear in whatever positions they do end up being in?
It seems to me that it's fairly straightforward. I mean, you and I observe the political parties. We observe what goes on there. There are things we're not happy about. There are people that emerge that we, you know, I mean, we virtually just shudder that how did this happen? But what do? We still sit back and we're expecting change to happen. It's not going to happen.
So what can we do?
So you get in there because many of the people don't have, I mean, I probably would be, you know, guilty of saying, but it's because I don't have an interest in pursuing, you know, anything along that line. But you have to get in there. If you see that what is going on there is inappropriate or will not work for us, you can't sit back. You have to step forward, become part of the membership, get to know the process of how things happen.
Question?
A lot of times we're too, you know, we're too sophisticated to get ourselves in the game, and we're expecting to win. No, you'll be speaking from outside.
You know,
you have to speak.
Someone listening to you right now would be wondering, no, I'm not going to do that. But, you know, Dr. Shobande, speaking to what, you know, Dr. Shobode just said now, someone is commenting that unless you remove the past to install political leaders through political parties, only through political parties, we're still going to be where we are, or maybe even go back. So leading to the question, it's like a kind of asking that same question of how do I get in that place
Without belonging to a political
without
party.
belonging to a political party. Someone is saying that, okay, do you think it is time for us to begin to consider independent candidacy? Because, you know, at the end of the day, we see what private sectors practitioners do. Meanwhile, these same individuals get into public office, and it's always like, wait a minute, are you a different person from the person who was in private sector?
Yeah.
What do you think, you know, is responsible for that?
He did a fantastic analysis too, and I agree with every point he raised. We can't sit down and criticize and condemn the system that we are not a part. I'm an advocate of the fact that we should join the political parties. We should be responsible party members. But the challenge that I have is how many career professionals will be allowed by their employers to attend political party meetings early hours of the morning and midnight that the politicians are committed to. That's where the problem is. It's unrealistic at this point to suggest that we don't need political parties. It's not possible. But the truth of the matter is that the only vehicle to our political emancipation, the only realistic vehicle to our political emancipation right now is through the political parties. And where professionals have to humble themselves enough not to feel that, because the problem with the average Nigerian is that we have this savior complex, and we carry this savior complex too far by condemning the system and thinking we are off board. Then we get into the system and the system demystifies them. But that's exactly what is going on, especially with the technocrats who find themselves in government as ministers, as governors, as, you know, the system demystifies them. It demystifies the noise around them because of this savior complex that we have. I think that the current structure of the political parties is being designed to, you know, it's been designed to frustrate people like that, people with such savior complex.
Could it be because sometimes we expect that, because most of the time when we talk about political parties, we are only looking at governorship roles, of presidency roles, the high roles, you know, the legislature, National Assembly, State Assembly. Because one of the things that a good number of local government autonomy advocates have been talking about is this new wave occasioned by the judgment of the Supreme Court should naturally attract people of credibility and integrity at the lowest levels, the teachers and you know, retired personnel who still have some fire in them. What do you think of that? Because most of the time, people look at these people as the ones who can really do much. Meanwhile, the direct effect of governance happens at the lowest levels of governance, which had been comatose over the years.
That's what I grew up with. That's what I grew up with. The most effective leadership development process and leadership recruitment process is through the local participation. That is where credible people can go and start from. It's unrealistic. We have a lot of unrealistic expectations, thinking that it is the position that makes the leader. Leadership is not position. Leadership is responsibilities. When we understand that definition of what leadership is, then it will stop attracting people who think with their savior complex they can just go and start from the position of a governor or commissioner. No, start from the local level. The local level is where development takes place and where development is evened out. And the reality is that, thank God for the Supreme Court decision now, and we are praying that the governors will domesticate and effectively, you know, run with these decisions and they don't, you know, truncate it. The truth is that there's so much attraction, not only to the center, but the state level. But if we all go into the local government level and focus on the quality of the personnel at the local government level, not just only the chairman, the councillors, all of them, that is where the development will be felt by the people. The development is not felt by the people because not only the power is centralized, but the goodies, the things that attract them is centralized. So again, the processes are not transparent.
You know, at the end of what really gets to me the most about all of this that you're talking about, Dr. Shubade and Dr. Shubodu, is that the people who are directly affected by these things, they don't know all of these theories, these policies, these ideologies that we're propounding. They are at the mercy, as Alero said earlier, of those that are thrown up. And that's really, really painful because, like it or not, yes, like it or not, they will only elect the people that the political parties have thrown up. Unfortunately, they seem to be at a loss.
Well, let me put the blame for that at the doorsteps of people like you and I, who are more enlightened and who should know that we're supposed to be part of the process. And until we're part of the process, nothing will change because they don't know. All right? Now, one of the things that amuses me is when people, and you look at the time, the last presidential election, and people will tell you the 3 C's, character, credibility, competence. Everybody talks about that, and I'm asking myself, what do they mean? The truth is that the average person doesn't understand what they mean. What is competence? Who is competent among the 3? What is character? Do you know the character of the 3? What's your definition of character? Those things, as relevant, as useful as they are not understood by the people who are on printing.
Wow.
Now, so it becomes a big challenge, all right? Do the people really know who they're voting for? And I think that, that's even a greater issue because you may discover that we don't have the kind of options that we have by the kind of candidates that we were presented with. Because when the chips are really down, I don't know how many would actually qualify if we were to fully apply those 3 C's. I don't know how many.
But you also talked about the politics of it.
Oh, yes. Now, this is where, let me share with you that the issue, I love the point you made about this private sector. And you have private sector people come in, and then you begin to wonder, are you a different person? And that point is very instructive because all too often we have made it appear as if the solution lies with the private sector leadership. If only we can get them to come into government. Well, you have had enough, cases now. Can you please tell me which private sector person has done well? Which private sector person? I'd like to exclude, Lagos perhaps, and for a number of reasons. But where have we found a private sector, representative who's been in government who has done well? For me...
You spoke to this earlier when you said that they need to understand the political system.
Now, that is correct, all right? I stand by that. But I'm saying the issues are deeper. Because if you then have had an opportunity for some private sector people to come in, and there have been nothing to write them about, that tells you that the leadership challenge we have is a lot deeper. Now, what has happened with the private sector people? And I had the opportunity of explaining this to a brother of mine who was wondering, trying to figure out why has it been like that. And I tried to to paint a picture. I said, in the private sector, these people you are talking about, the private sector had rules. The private sector had policies. If you are the MD of a bank, you can't tell a junior officer in the bank, open the vault, bring me $1 million. He's going to ask you. He's going to ask you for documentation.
Yes.
Even when you give him documentation, he's going to check with his boss to see, does the MD have the approval? Does he have the power to ask me to bring this?
He's the MD.
Oh, no, it doesn't work. It doesn't in the private sector.
He doesn't own the money.
It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. Now,
so they cannot say in the private sector, do you know who I am?
Oh, that what? I know who you are. You are the MD. But you also know that you told me to respect process.
Exactly.
And that's
what you taught me.
Oh, yes, and there is process. And there is an organ that is checking. There's the auditor who is going to ask me questions. All right. So it's not going to be about the MD. And by the way, you know, the auditor has a dual reporting line. You know, it reports directly to the board just as it reports to the MD. So the auditor can look the MD in the eye and say, sir, you know, there is nothing to support this now. Look at where the difference is. So the MD is limited in the context of the private sector. Now the MD goes and becomes governor of a state. He would ask them to bring $1 billion. They will bring it, they will change it to dollar, and they will put it by his feet. Nobody would ask him any question. Nobody dares ask him any question. Why? Because of the system that is without rules. So, and now this is where the issue is. The best of private sector people, how much would they have seen in cash? Look, power corrupts. It corrupts absolutely.
Absolutely.
A lot of us that speak the big grammar, all right, when we get into the system, lacking character, and we see money, it's a different ballgame. You'll be speaking a different...
And when you see how much power you wield.
Yeah, because your word is final.
Yeah.
The same thing, I suspect, happens at the level of the kind of like CBN and Co.
Dr. Shobande, your final words on this. I mean, Dr. Shobande has given us too big a pie to chew. What are your last words on this conversation? Your final words, Dr. Shobande.
Oh, sorry. I'm enjoying Dr. Shobodu's contribution because on this same program, I've shared this same perspective in time past. And I've said that I am, especially when I was talking about the youth, and I said, look, I am not very confident that the average person that we have in Nigeria, especially the youth, if they find themselves in government, they will do better. And because, you know, it is not in the grammar. It is not in the big words.
Yeah.
It is how relatable these people are to those who are going to make the political decisions. You know, it was in this same country that we were in when a governor was removed by asking women who clean the streets to line up at the political party primaries. And they were voting the governor out, saying they don't want him. You know, the same people were... So we need to rejig the system with a clear, transparent process. If we can do something, the technocrats who are, you know, willing to go into the system and participate, because that's the major issue. We need to have clear public participation in the political system, particularly through the structure.
Okay.
Just for that, but it has to be consultative, with humility.
Okay.
And with
it's like you both want to start a Nigeria leadership conference here this morning. So essentially, you both have told us this morning that it's not just about caterwauling. So
we have to get in there and take part.
Get the job done.
Are you going to take part? Or are you taking part already?
Well, I'm taking part already. I mean, what I do now is to develop leaders based on truth.
Dr. Shobande, are you taking part already?
Yes, I'm taking part by documenting my thoughts. I published a book titled The Leadership Myth, Why Leadership Principles Do Not Work in Sub-Saharan Africa. And I articulated my thoughts clearly, not just only in that book. I've been organizing a school of governance for young people, training them on how to get involved in political participation in the country. And
Which political party do you belong to?
By virtue of my role, I won't be able to make that declaration publicly at the moment. But trust me.
So, long and short, you are telling us no caterwauling.
No caterwauling.
Get in the kitchen, get your hands dirty, and then become
a politician.
Dr. Toye Shobande, a leadership coach who joined us via Zoom, and we had in the studio Dr. Olatunji Shobodu, a leadership consultant. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
But we would like to see you, the two of you, as card-carrying members of one political party or the other, same as you are advising us.
And the candidates for one.
To get in the kitchen and clean up the mess. We can't clean it from staying on the outside.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Please don't ask Alera to join a political party. She won't last.
Yeah.
Sunrise will return in just a moment with another interesting conversation.
red line, blue line, which one of them have you gotten on? I've seen some traveloggers who got on the blue line when it was launched and said to people, this is not London, this is not US,
this is Lagos, Nigeria.
And they took a tour of how they got on, getting to the process of getting to the train station, process of getting the Cowry card, getting on it, how you even check in through the
turnstile.
Yes, using the Cowry card, get into the train, one of the train cars, and the ride, taking videos of people, some people in the car with them, of their
some getting on, them, some getting off.
Yes, all of that. So, what's your story? Don't worry, the lady beside me is still thinking about it. But that's what we want to talk about this morning. Last week, the Lagos State Governor, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, launched the commercial operations of the Red Line. Now, don't forget, the Red Line is the second of 5 that Lagos State is working on. And that one is running from Oyingbo to Agbado. And people have been warned against vandalism of the rail infrastructure. Joining us this morning for this conversation is Engineer Olasunkanmi Okushaga, Director, Rail Transport, Lagos Metropolitan Area Transport Authority, Lamata. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Well, how many days gone and how far so far?
Well, it's just barely not 2 weeks here, so about 10 days now. But journey so far has been impressive, interesting as well, and challenging. And it called for more action to be done and then more strategic things to put in place, because different line has different, different risk assessment, different peculiarity. They are not the same. Blue and red are not the same, but at least it's encouraging, and we are ready to do more.
At least they are both lines. There's something
has this been accepted by the people? Are people getting on it?
Is it the red or the blue? Which one do you want me to talk about first?
The red.
The red, okay. The red is just started. We've done about trial run for about 8 weeks, and the turnout was very impressive. And on this trial, on this normal commercial operation now, is just less than 1 week plus, as I said. The passenger is improving gradually, because some people are talking about the fares, but at least from our projection, we're not there yet, but the passengers' numbers are increasing gradually. But over time, I think we will get to the number of our projection.
This confirmed to us, we heard that the governor that was saying that they're gunning for about 500,000 passengers a day?
Yeah, absolutely. If everything is completed, yes.
On the red line alone?
On the red line alone, yes. Yes.
500,000 passengers?
Yes, that's the projection. Even more than that, if we have the whole line complete, yes.
Okay. And okay.
You mentioned the fare just now. If one wanted to undertake the entire journey from Oyingbo to Agbado,
right,
the cost is 1,500.
Yeah, for now.
And some people are saying that's a bit exorbitant.
Yeah, we've had that because we have a mechanism in place to understand feedback from the passengers. Yeah, and you remember the last, maybe about less than a week ago, the governor was on the channels and he said, we will look into it. We're collecting our data and we're collecting feedback. And as he said, we're going to look at it. If it's still, probably we might have a downward review in terms of pricing, but it's still very early for now, but we're going to look into that.
But a trip from Agbado?
Yes, that's about 37 kilometers.
To Oyingbo by road will probably cost more than 1,500.
Yeah, absolutely, more than that, yes. You can't even go direct, you have to break your journeys, and the cumulative of it is more than 8,500. Yes.
So on the one hand, you save money, you save time.
You save time and you save money as well. Yes. Because that's the beauty of railway transport. It's predictable. You can save your time, you can plan your journey, and the comfort is there.
But one of the things that a good number of people are talking about, including one of us here, one of the 3 of us here in this room, is the daily income to the state.
Okay.
750 million naira a day.
Projected.
Projected, yes.
At 500,000 passengers per day. Is that just for the red line or for both?
That's a projection for red line, as you said. If red line is complete in terms of the whole journey from Agbado all the way to Marina, all the way to National Theatre, because that's the new plan, yes, we will get that, yes. That's a projection that has been tested, but over time, in terms of passengers number, wrap up over time. So, but that is at the peak. That's what we are looking at.
Okay, what about the blue line? How is that coming?
Oh, interesting. That one has been, initially it was a bit, maybe one of those things like people don't get used to it. It's new to the system, new to us here in part of the world. But now I can categorically say now the passengers number are there. We're about 90, rising, steadily rising. And then a bit in terms of our study and the feedback, we've done data analysis. We saw that there's a big gap in between the morning peak and evening peak. Now, one of the things we'll do is to lower the fares by the Mr. Governor for the evening, for the off-peak period. And the passengers are there now. It's increasing gradually, steadily. And I can say over time we'll get to our threshold.
Now, you share infrastructure with the Nigeria Rail Service.
Yes.
Particularly for the red line. So how is that going?
Interesting. It has been up and down, but by and large, I think it's been very, very helpful.
Any issues?
Yeah, there are issues. Yes.
What are the issues?
Number one is in terms of understanding, because that's the first time they're doing it in this part of the world in terms of sharing the track. We have to, both parties has to come on board. They have not done it before, we have not done it before. So we need to understand in terms of who does what, how do you fit in terms of your timetable, your scheduling and all that, who does the maintenance.
There's the red line.
Yeah, that's the red line, that's Mr. Governor.
Is this the uniform for the...
That's the Lagos State uniform. The red tie should symbolize the red, and the cap shows red. The blue one has the blue tie. And then so that's what we do. If you look at the one for the blue line, the logo there is blue, or it still show red line, blue line, and the tie is blue. That tells you it's blue line.
I'm asking if that's the uniform of the drivers.
Yes, that's the uniform for all the train operators. Yes.
Inside,
Yeah, including the drivers, the customer service, ticketers, dispatcher, and all that. But they have a T-shirt if the driver wants to relax and drive without normal T-shirt. But that is the approved uniform.
Okay. So, quickly, conclude your thoughts on the
sharing
the track. Yeah, as I said, it's a new thing to them, it's a new thing to us. We need to go back and understand in terms of maintenance of the track, because we have a threshold in terms of what we signed in the track access agreement. Okay, I want to operate my train maybe 5 times in an hour, and then I want the threshold of certain parameters that your track has to meet. And then, so those things like that have to be discussed in details to understand. Okay, if I said I want you to meet X and Y, and if you don't meet it, there's a penalty kicks in, or can I go and do it myself? Then in terms of operation, signalization, all that, and the regulatory aspect of it, those are the things we look at. And by and large, NLC has been very cooperative with us, but it was not easy at the start. But
so talk to us quickly about one of the things that, of course, a number of people were seriously talking about then, which is the fact that, one of them is running on electricity and all those things. Which of these two is that, and what are the...
Okay, the blue line is running on electricity. What we've done so far on the blue line is we have what they call a dedicated power plant built specifically for the blue line. So it's 8 megawatts, which is scalable to 16 when we complete the blue line phase 2. So blue line has its own power, which if we have the right, we can even distribute or sell to the community. So that is on the blue line. The red line one is using diesel, which everybody knows that that's the normal local using diesel to pull or whatever. So those are the two different things. And on the blue line itself, because of power 750 DC volt, we have to be very careful in terms of safety risk assessment. So blue line is totally segregated. We have a palisade fence all around from after the National Theatre all the way to my 2 is fenced out, so that people can go in there because of electrocution and all that. Then there's a lot of advocacy we've done. We've put so many measures in place to understand that, okay, this area is no-go area, but we've done what they call as well the signages to speak about 4, 5, 6 languages to warn people, and then advocacy on the radio as well tells us, look, this one is power. It's not the normal, usually you just go and cross the track. It's a no-go area on the blue line. The red line is multiple multiple units. We use diesel. Then at the same time, we still need to fence it out because you see people jaywalking on the track. They're used to all these old trains, one train an hour and the whole day. But now we're planning to have 6 trains in an hour. So the dynamics is going to change gradually. Yeah.
Okay.
How does one, I understand that you can only use the trains if you have a Cowry card.
Absolutely.
So how does one obtain a Cowry card?
Presently, you can obtain it from the station. Any stations that have been operated under the railway or even on the bus service.
For a fee?
Yeah.
How much is it?
I think the plastic one is 500 if I'm right. But that's a one-time payment. You own your card. I think I have one here if I'm correct. Yes, this is the plastic one.
Okay.
That's the Cowry card.
That's a Cowry card for you to use either the red line or the blue line, the waterways, or the
bus service.
BRT service.
BRT service as well, yes.
That's a Cowry card. And this costs 500 naira. That's to obtain. That's before you begin to load money onto it. So this is a one-time card which you can put money on every time to use the services.
Yeah, regulated services, yes.
Do you have to register?
Yes.
For it?
You have to register because it's your property. Once you get to the stations, they ask for your mobile number and it's linked to your maybe NI or what they call it, NIN or something. So with that, it now becomes yours. You can load it anytime at your convenience at the stations.
If I don't have NIN?
But maybe your mobile phone number will help, yes.
What if it's stolen?
Yeah, you can retrace it back because your number is there. That takes, once you go there, you mention your mobile number or your NIN, they can get you another one. That's what I can say, whether at a fee, if it's stolen or lost, but it's yours. Nobody can use it because your number, your details is there.
In other words, there's no point stealing it.
Yes.
It's useless to anybody else.
It's useless, yes.
No one else can load my card. Is that what you're saying?
No. If you lost it.
It's linked to your ID and your telephone number.
Yes, I know, but if it gets stolen.
If the person has my phone number.
If it gets stolen, no one else can load it without my details.
Because there might be 1 or 2 questions they will ask you in terms of, okay, this is your card, what's the phone number, what's the certain information you have on it. Yes, that might be
your date of birth, for instance.
If someone knows that, for instance, Alera has loaded, say, 20,000 naira on it, and they can just borrow it and not return it for a while.
So, at what point is one able to load a Cowry card?
Once you've registered it and it's given to you, you can load it there. There's a vending machine there, there's a merchant there, there's customer service that will load it for you.
Okay.
The next phase we are going now is to digitalize it so that maybe you can load it in the comfort of your home.
You can load it through your phone?
Yes, and your bank app and all that. But presently it's 2 ways. You load it through, there's a app, the Cowry card app.
Okay.
Once you download it and register, you can transfer money into your card at your convenience. You can even look at how you're being charged and all that from your advocate. The expenses you've been done so far, you can just monitor it.
So you can look at your history.
That's the better word to say. That is 1. 2, there's a lot of vending machine around, merchant, and then what they call them, the ticketers around all stations and spread across the state. So you can load it. The 3rd phase that we are going into then at your comfort of your home.
Okay.
That's the next phase.
Just to be clear.
Okay.
And this is one of the struggles, I think, that the NRC is still battling. Cash transaction is not possible on any of the lines in Lagos.
Yes.
No one can go there and just give something to the boys.
Absolutely no.
And just get on the train.
No, you won't go because the turnstile won't open, and then the customer service is not only you there. The customer service, the other personnel overlooking what you're doing, so it's not possible.
So there's no way of getting on those trains without a Cowry card?
Yes.
Okay.
Interesting. Now, tell us about the next line that Lagos State is thinking about.
Okay. Presently, Lagos State works through what they call Strategic Transport Master Plan. We call the Bible of what we work with. It has about 6. Initially, it was 7, revised to 6 rail network, namely we color-coded, green,
yes,
yellow, blue, orange, purple. Those are the one we have. So presently we have the blue line in operation phase 1. The phase 2 of it is under construction. That takes us from Mile 2 to Kokomaiko. So that is expected to be in operation 2026. That complete the whole blue line. Yes, the red line that is operational now as well is the phase 1. That's from Agbado to Oyingbo. The phase 2 is still taking us to Marina or National Theatre. Then we have the green line that goes from Marina itself all the way to Free Trade Zone. So that was the one that was, yes. Yes. You didn't get to Ekpe, but Free Trade Zone very close, yes. Dangote exit, yes. Yes, that's the green line. We have the purple line from Redeem all the way to Lasso area. Oh. We have the orange.
From Ogun State?
Yes.
All the way to Ojo?
Yes.
Wow.
We have the orange from Agbawa in Korodu. That goes from Agbawa, Imota, Maya, all the way, Ikorodu, Agric, all the way down to Ikeja. Then we have the yellow from Wata, all the way to National Theatre. So National Theatre, the plan is to have it as a mega hub. That 3 rail network meets there. We have the red, the blue, and the orange, and the yellow. It's going to meet at National Theatre. Whereas in Marina, we have the green, we have the red, and the blue at Marina Station. So those are the 6 networks that the government is planning. And the next phase now is the green line, which was signed by the, if you are aware, the MOU was signed in China. So we've commenced discussion with the Czech and backed by the MOFI, Federal Ministry of Finance Incorporated. So we're going to commence, we've commenced feasibility. Lamata itself have done detailed feasibility study because, as I said, it's like we have to pull this skin in the game. We understand. So if you, the funders, that come and tell us X, Y, Z, we need to understand what you're telling us. So we've done detailed design in terms of the right-of-way, type of rolling stock, infrastructure, how we're going to maneuver in terms of to reduce some certain demolition, acquisition, and all that. So we've commenced discussion with them. And so once that is done, the next phase is to get the fund and then commence the implementation of the green line. So by and large, green line would take, it depends how the funding comes in quick, but maybe 3 to 4 years.
And that's commencing when?
We already started the discussion. We already started site visit. We already started that to establish the right of way. Once that is signed off, then the funding comes in.
Have there been any situation in the city so far where, based on the master plan, the Bible of transportation, as you call it, Lagos, there have been reasons for government to demolish some buildings and compensate the people?
Yeah, absolutely. Typical one is the green line, is the red line.
Okay.
Because the red line will acquire some properties, and the beauty of it is, I said it once and I'm saying it again, that this is the first time the government of Lagos have compensated both the landlord and the tenant. It's not done in the history of Nigeria. I think that's a fact. So based on that, we get a reputable estate valuer, 2 of them, so that value the property. The initial first thing is we engage them. We told them we have to let them understand this is what's going on. Your properties, and we've tried to maneuver in terms of design, but eventually it's there. The property has to go. So we get your valuer. You can get your independent valuer as well. So we'll sit and look at the figures, and then we pay you compensation. And you know, most of the thing that you see on the news is that, okay, they pay the landlord, the tenant is not paying, is not living, I've paid the landlord 2 years, 3 years. We pay the tenants to go as well. Even if you have a kiosk, we enumerate you, and then evaluate your stuff and pay you. So by and large, the red line has been very, very successful in terms of that, yes.
Is that profit for the landlord? I'm sorry, don't.
The red line has been in operation now for just over a week.
Yeah, absolutely.
Are there any lapses that you have noticed which needs to be corrected?
It's too early, but what we've seen so far is that that exit itself is like most people, maybe they only see trains one in a day. Now the frequencies has come, you see them jaywalking, and what Mr. Governor has told us is try and fence it out, maybe 2 kilometers both sides, and see. So then the lightmen, the advocates, and say, listen, the old days is gone. Newton is thinks this is the modern age. You go to see frequency of the train. You can't start sailing on the track. You can't do whatever we've been doing so far. So that's the thing we've seen. But in terms of passengers, yeah, they are coming gradually on the red line.
One of the things that the governor said was the appeal to people against vandalization of rail infrastructure. There is good reason to say that.
Yeah.
I remember, there was a time when the whole of Lagos had these beautiful bus stop designs, fenced off bus stops for buses. And before you know what was happening, people would go there, literally pull them down. I'm wondering, is that the kind of the thing that the governor is talking about? Are there such risks? Are they happening already? What can you tell us about that?
Okay, let me take that to the blue line. Blue line itself, as I said, was fenced out totally. But in terms of people trying to vandalize stuff and all that, I think advocacy is important for people to understand. This thing is meant for you people. It's for us. It's for the community. Let them buy into it. Let them take it as part of their stuff. Blue line itself is fenced out totally, and then what we've done so far is vandalism. And if you touch our track, we have what they call the broken ray detector system. Once you try to touch it, vandalize, you send the signals. You send the signal wave into my mobile phone or the controller mobile phone, and tells us, okay, something like this is happening so place. It will tell you not 100% precise location, but give you a range. So maybe 2 meters or 10 meters variation. Then we go there and check, because we have securities, we have police as well. But on the red line as well, that is because we have 100% control over that. On the red line, we are working with NRC to understand that, okay, let's clear all these people on the track first, and then fence it out and maintain constant monitoring and enforcement. Then we will try, and I think that will help us in terms of vandalization of the tracks. But, and the beauty of it is this is in the metropolitan area of Lagos. It's not outside Lagos. And the same security measure we put in place on the blue line, we're trying to implement it on the red line as well. So once you go and touch the track, you send a signal to the control room.
But you said, so the fences are not, they are not carrying any power?
No, because we need to understand the safety implication of that, and you can. But a lot of information. Then one defense, you go past the fence, then you've commit an offense in terms of you breaking maybe one of the two, taking out the fence.
Forbidden area.
Yes, because the information is there clearly on the wall, both English, Yoruba, Hausa, Igbo, whatever language, even in French. You don't trespass. Don't go beyond this point.
Okay.
Have there been any case of any trains breaking down?
The blue line, yes, no. Because the only thing we have there was maybe downtime for power. That was about less than 5 minutes or something. Just no, the blue line, no. The red line, we just started. We have not. It's still new. We hope we don't have that. But
there's something you said about this collaboration with NRC.
Yes.
When the time comes, you still have to have collaborations with the Ogun State government.
Absolutely.
Because rail is running from the camp.
Yes.
To
Agbado,
Lagos.
well.
Then from Ota.
Yes.
Into Lagos.
The blue line is going to go to what's this industrial estate?
Agbara.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
All in Ogun State.
So, other than water, the only other border Lagos has is Ogun State. I just want to ask you this. These collaborations, do they have to do with money as well? I'm very sure NRC will be wondering, okay, you people want to be making 750 million a day. We want a share.
That is still in the long term. Yes. The track access agreement that we're signing up to has some certain, maybe some, I won't call it rental charges, for certain fee. So which has been worked out, and it's still going to be something we need to review over time. Okay. So there's some certain penalty payment clause, and then I think I will leave it like that.
Will the same thing happen between Ogun State and Lagos?
If they want to hit it to our track, yes, because we've done some certain infrastructure for them. There might be collaboration. It might not be maybe a fee or something. It might be, okay, you have to take some certain infrastructure, implement to get this done. But it's a thing that we are open to a lot of discussion.
So that sounds like you're saying Lagos State now has rail infrastructure, and Ogun State can also now decide that they want to
Tap into it.
tap into it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Do they pay taxes when their own buses come into Lagos? Don't answer that question.
Yeah. Thank you.
Now, for those that don't have an idea how to board, because the rail stops, the train stations,
Yeah.
are quite distant from a host of the residencies in the city. Anyone, for instance, living at Berger will have a lot of thinking, locating where is the first rail line to get to and all of that. Is there any plan along that line? Because that's why Alero hasn't.
Okay, if you live in that axis, what we've done so far is what they call a wayfinder.
Okay.
In terms of, we look at where the train is located. And the beauty of it is most of our train stations had a bus terminal there as well.
Oh.
So that we plan to integrate it. If you look at, let me take the red line as well. Starting from Oyingbo, we have a bus terminal at Oyingbo that are connected to both the rail and bus. Yaba the same thing. Ikeja the same thing. Oshodi the same thing. Mushin the same thing. So, but at the same time, we need to put some wayfinder for if you are walking or if you are coming with your car or whatever, how the easiest way to go, how do you go to locate and navigate yourself into the station. That's number one. Number two, what we've done so far that we're going to improve on is put some map out in terms of directional sign and tells you, okay, train station, and then implement it in the Google map as well as if you are trying to locate the train station. How do you go to locate and navigate yourself into the station? So wayfinder, advocacy, directional sign, traffic sign as well.
Okay.
Are the stations well marked out?
Absolutely.
There's huge signs
Yes.
saying that this is a train station.
Oh yes, you will know it because there is a very beautiful station. The edifice is fine. You will
Just use the word imposing, we'll understand. But okay, Lagos is coming up with these novel initiatives. Have there been conversations? Any state in the country approached Lagos, say, show us the way, as we say, follow Uno Road?
Oh yeah, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we have. I don't want to put numbers, but we have Southwest, even from the north, Kano, Kaduna, we've been working with us, even outside Nigeria as well.
Oh.
And we come into Lagos, Lamata, to understand how do you do this, let us take us through. So I think, yeah, we've been having that.
Put a number.
Beautiful bride.
Yes.
Yeah, most of the Southwest states have done that.
Okay.
And then we have the Enugu state has been there. There's been Anambra, I mean to say. I've been to Lamata, Kano, Kaduna. Yes, they've been to Lamata to understand how you guys get it right. So we want to copy your template. Yes, we have that.
I'm trying to imagine your workroom, or is it war room? How you have to, some big, gigantic, LCD wall, that, okay, this train is doing this, that train is doing that. How much has it cost so far to put up these two lines?
Interesting. I think on that note, I think my job is just to implement. Maybe the Ministry of Finance or
why am I suspecting the politician sitting with me here in the studio?
It's not about that, but my work is just to implement. But I think that the actual figure will be, I think the Ministry of Finance or Budget and Planning will be in position.
So if you were going to put an estimate to it, it's like
no, it depends. It varies because rail lines are not the same. Because we have the rail network that is maybe built on brownfield or greenfield, acquisition, swamp areas. So they're not the same in terms of if you want to put money on them per kilometer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now there's something that had been said over time,
right?
Even by a federal minister of transportation, that rail infra, because we understand that the hosts of rail lines in the nation were procured through loans and such facilities. And people are wondering, what's the payback timeline and all those things? And what many people have been told and inundated with is the fact that, look, a rail service is not as lucrative as that, particularly maybe cargo trains and all of that. What's your take on that perspective? How lucrative is the business?
I think my take on that would be maybe 50-50, because it depends on how you structure your financial model. So because that will speak into how you want to generate your fund or your money, by recoup your money, and how you want to make sure that the project is bankable. Real project, as I said, is capital intensive. And the beauty of it, of what Lagos State has done so far, is I think it's a loan from local banks, because they believe in the project themselves, and they've done their studies and done their numbers, and look, okay, this project is bankable. That's why they put their money in there. So to me, I think it's 50-50. You can, if you don't break even over because of fears alone, there are other things that you have to do, TOD, other things that help you to advert and all that. You know, it depends on the structures and the strategy you put in place. You can break even with the real operation. Yes.
Oh yes. One of those bloggers you spoke about mentioned that there was no loudspeaker in the train.
That's on the red line, the new one.
On the red
yes.
line.
Yeah.
Telling the next station is so and so and so.
We have that as well. We have that comment from the blogger. Yes, it's like on the northbound, it's working, and the suburb is not working. We're working on it now. Yes.
So it is on the train, but it's not working.
It's working on the other side, because it used to work before we commenced. Maybe there's a few slots, but I've told them that they're working on it. I think if you go, maybe I will check on Monday and see if it's working back. Yes.
This whole idea of metro line, or rail transport in Lagos has been on for what, 40 years or so? How does it feel
to finally achieve it?
How does it feel for you, as in, what emotional weight does it give you?
I can't quantify it, because if I'm allowed to say, that came back as a World Bank consultant to Nigeria to develop rail. And this is one of it's a goal achiever. I've achieved it. I'm happy. At least forget about emotionally, I think I'm fulfilled that now in the history of Lagos State, we have 2 metro systems under Mr. Governor, Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu. It's a massive achievement that I think no word can quantify it. Yes. And we are not stopping. We're still going. The red line, the green line is
4 more.
I asked a question. I put my finger on it. So if I get beaten, no problem. Thank you so much for your time this morning.
Thank you.
Engineer Lasunkomi Okushaga, Director of Transport, Lagos Metropolitan Area Transport Authority, Lamata. Thank you so much for your time. And we wish you the best.
Thank you too. Thank you for having me. Yeah.
Okay, that's that. Now, all of these rail lines go through local governments. Well, today is the Kano State local government elections, and High Court in Kano has directed that the state's Independent Electoral Commission should proceed with the local government elections. Of course, you know the various build-up to that conversation. Justice Sunusi Maji of the Kano State High Court issued the order following a case filed by the State Electoral Commission against the APC and 13 others. Now, let's have conversations with our correspondent, Sadiq Ilyasu, who is our correspondent in Kano State. Good morning, Sadiq. It's been quite a number of back and forth before we got here. How describe to us the build up to this point where we are right now?
Well, yesterday there was a spree of court rulings. A federal high court gave a ruling earlier on Tuesday that the police shouldn't even take part in the election, and they called all the leadership of the handset as illegal because they found them to be partisan. That's what they said. And secondly, just like what you said earlier, the State High Court also gave a go-ahead to the Kano Independent Electoral Commission to continue with the election. And this is exactly what is happening. And another court order was also issued yesterday which disqualified all the NNPP candidates, both the local government and the councillorship, the chairman and the local government candidates. All of them were disqualified by the courts. But despite all this, the Kano State Independent Electoral Commission is going ahead with its election, as you can see today. You can see behind me, the election is going on. But unfortunately, there is no any presence of the police, since they said they are going to comply with the earlier order by the Federal High Court. But as you can see, there is a Karota, there is members of the Hisba Commission, there is also some vigilante. They are the ones providing the security. And as I can tell you now, the election is going on smoothly. There is no any crisis, no any hit. And also, you know, yesterday there was a statement by the Commissioner of Information which restricted movement in the state. And to some extent, a lot of people, market shops are not open, and people are not even moving around except for those who are going for the elections. This is exactly what is happening right now in Kano. Back to you.
How do you see that, all of that build-up affecting the turnout of voters? I'm glad that you will still talk about the details of the election itself. But how do you see all of those, one court order after another court order, and all of that? How do you see it affecting the turnout of voters for the election?
Well, it is definitely affecting the turnout. And, you know, sometimes, you know, in Kano, because of its volatility, a lot of people chose not to come out, not because they wanted to go and cast their vote, but because they are scared of what might happen. But despite that, a lot of people are coming out. Here, it's usually a polling unit where a lot of people gather to cast their vote. But today, you can see only a few people were here to cast their vote. And we went round to other places where we see a better turnout than this. We saw a better turnout at Salanta Ward, where they are yet to begin the elections, but they are already sorting out their boxes and other election materials for them to continue with the election. Definitely, the build-up will definitely affect the turnout. Back to you.
Sadiq, normally when elections take place, we normally hear complaints about electoral officers not arriving on time, materials not arriving on time. What happened in the case of Kano?
Yeah, in some polling units, as I can tell you now, up till now, there is no any sign of any election materials, no sign of any election officials. But what I can tell you is that in the centers where they are responsible for the distribution, all the people are there to collect the materials. I think what I'm suspecting is that because of the build-up to the election, all the hurdles that happen, this might cause the delay that we are seeing today. But here in Tarauni, most of the polling units have begun with the process of the election. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Sadiq.
Okay, I'm sure we'll get back to you shortly. John Ebikeseye Motu joins us this morning to talk about this local government laws and all of that. He joins us from our Abuja studio. He's National Coordinator, Democracy Vanguard. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, Mr. Motu.
Thank you so much for having me. Good morning, Nigerians.
Let's begin with this Kano example. A slew of court orders, some of them actually conflicting with each other. Yesterday we had a lawyer in Kano, in our Kano studio, who was lamenting why the judiciary would allow itself to be as is being used, so to speak. Those were his thoughts. What do you make of it? On the one hand, one ruling is saying no elections, another one is saying yes elections. What's your understanding?
Yeah, I think I have a fear for this country. The judiciary is supposed to be a problem solver for this country, but gradually the judiciary is now becoming an albatross in this country. And if not checked, it's going to be a big challenge for us. It started in Rivers in recent times. We thought it was a joke. Now it has moved to Kano. And if not arrested quickly, it will become an issue across the country. When the judiciary cannot regulate itself, when the judiciary courts of concurrent jurisdiction give conflicting orders, nobody obeys those orders, nobody takes them seriously, then it means that people will continue to resort to self-help, and that is a big danger for our democracy. I remember growing up, once a court gave judgment, everybody is bound by it. The only thing you can do is to appeal that judgment. But today, what we see around is judgment is given, nobody takes it seriously, to the point that even the Supreme Court will give judgments. Nobody takes it seriously. It is not implemented. So where are we going? Our democracy is truly in danger. And I said this is quickly checked. We may see this, impeding the 2027 general elections. And maybe people will now start resorting to self-help, and that will be chaos, that will be a crisis across the country. So I will call on Mr. President, I will call on the NJC, the NBA, and the judiciary to quickly put its house in order before they truncate this democracy.
John, why do you think some states are so against local government elections anyway?
I think it's more self-serving than altruistic reasons. It's parochial. And I've said this several times. When you see governors who were governors at the states who were against local government autonomy, they leave office and get to the National Assembly, they become advocates of local government autonomy. Even while they are out of office, even if they are not in the National Assembly, if you see their commentary, it's different from what they used to preach when they were in the states, when they were in the elms of affairs at their various states. So it's not based on any altruistic reasoning, but more or less parochial reasoning. And when you hear their own lines of thought, when you hear their defense, sometimes it's laughable. So I think it's more or less there is something that we are not being told. There is something within the local government system that government or state governments benefit from that they don't want to let go. And it's really a pity.
But there has been a court ruling that the local government should be autonomous. So, I mean, by extension, for me, that means local government elections should be held, and then the local governments are autonomous.
Yes, I think the judgment was given as far back as July, and I do know that there have been negotiations, there have been consultations. At the initial stage, what we heard was that maybe there was a period of moratorium given for the federal government and the states to put their acts in order before the implementation of the law. And I'm surprised to hear the Attorney General coming out recently to say that there was no such moratorium. So the question is that if there was no such moratorium, what is stopping the implementation of that judgment? Because the judgment was with immediate effect. The Supreme Court judgment said that with immediate effect. And 3 months down the line, we are still where we are. No concrete action has been taken by the federal government to make sure that those things happen, though I'm aware that the president set up a committee to review and maybe put up the mechanisms for implementation. I'm also aware that a lot of the states in compliance with those judgments have commenced conducting their local government elections, no matter how defective those elections are, but at least they are complying with to the extent of conducting local government elections. The area where we have not started seeing any implementation is with regards to the funding, where the Supreme Court judgment says money spent for local government should be paid directly into the accounts of those local governments. We've not seen any implementation to that effect, and I await the Attorney General of the Federation, who instituted the case in the first place, to tell us what is really happening and when that is going to take place.
Other than this issue that you are raising now, how does the people intervene? How do the people help the system and the process? What can the people do?
I think the judgment was greeted with fanfare. Nigerians celebrated that judgment. Everybody was happy, and hope was very high that at least we were going to see something different. We were going to see implementation. And I must give it to them, the media and the civil society groups have been drumming and they have been asking for implementation of that judgment. I also know that public opinion, public governance experts have also been calling for implementation of that judgment. But the buck stops at the table of the federal government, who has a responsibility to implement that judgment. Mr. President, I will hold responsible for that, and the Attorney General of the Federation. All we can do as civil society groups is to continue to call for the implementation of that judgment, but the buck stops at the table of Mr. President. And I wonder why that is not happened. The committee that has been instituted, we have also gone relatively quiet. We've not seen anything, no report has been presented, and no specific action is coming from that end. And once the momentum, they allow the momentum to die, then it's going to be a big challenge, because people will lose faith, people will lose confidence in the entire process, and at least the federal government really need to act, and the time to act is now.
You don't see this move, this wave of state governments conducting local government elections as a plus towards in that direction?
I think it is. Like I said, the judgment is twofold. One is for all states to ensure the conduct of elections. That is one, and that is the responsibility of the states to so do. And we've seen the states complying to that extent. But the second part of the judgment is that monies meant for local government should be paid directly to the accounts of the local government. And the person responsible for that, or the body responsible for that, is the federal government. So while the states are complying, we've not seen commensurate level of compliance from the federal government. And what we had initially was that they are putting the necessary mechanisms in place, the necessary structures in place. I wonder what kind of structure is required. All that is required is for each local government to set up their own statutory account, send their statutory accounts to the federal government, to the accountant general, who on a monthly basis is expected to credit the account rather than paying to the joint account allocation committee of the states. That July has come and gone, August come and gone, September has come and gone, and we are in October. October is also going. So we've not seen any commensurate implementation. So for me, the challenge right now is on the step of the federal government, who has not commenced implementation. But the states, to their own extent, like I said, no matter how flawed the elections are, they are complying and they are doing their best to make sure that those local government elections held. So maybe what we should be talking about after the election is moving downstream to see how we support and strengthen the local government electoral system.
Well, talking about the going downstream, was just not too long ago, the Lagos state government was talking about the fact that there are no plans to scrap the 37 local council development areas in the state, the LCDAs. And I think there are a number of other states in Nigeria have LCDAs. What's your take on that arrangement, local government and local council development areas? What should we be looking at? Is there progress? How does that affect this Supreme Court judgment?
Okay, first of all, local government is supposed to bring governance nearer to the people. It's to bring governance closer to the people, to the community level. And states like Lagos, with 20 local government, felt that the local government, number of local governments are too few to be able to impact directly on the communities. So that was the essence of trying to create the additional 37 LCDAs to bring governance closer to the people and make more impact. But the approach that the state government took in creating the local government did not meet the requirements of the 1999 Constitution. You remember when Mr. President was the governor of Lagos, you remember the imbroglio between the Lagos state government and the president around the recognition of the 37 LCDs as not meeting the constitutional requirement. Because for them to be recognized and draw revenue from the federation account, they must go through the entire process as recognized by, in Section 8 of the 1999 Constitution, 7 and 8. But unfortunately, they didn't meet that, leading to the withholding of the funds of Lagos State then. So what the Lagos State House of Assembly has done now is, in compliance to the judgment, is now maybe downgrading those LCDAs to now call what they call administrative councils. So they are now recognizing the 20 local governments areas recognized in the Constitution to be the 20 local governments that were drawing revenue directly from the federation account, and now downgrading them from local government development to now administrative councils. And the heads of those councils will now be appointees of the state government, not elected officials. So I think that move is one, in the first instance, is in compliance to the Supreme Court judgment. However, the other part of it is also a recognition of the fact that now that funding will be going directly to the local governments rather than the joint account, it means that each local government will be managing its funds, unlike as it was where they were able to redistribute the funds from the joint account. But again, even though I've not read the details of that, I've not seen the bill to read the details of that bill, I'm aware that one of the things they are trying to do is to now allow each local government to now fund the administrative councils under its purview. But again, if you ask me, Lagos is a rich state. It has enough internally generated revenue. So even if the monies from the federation account is not going to those local governments, I expect that the state government should be able to fund their LCDAs, that is, if they don't want to scrap them, the LCDAs directly from their internally generated revenue. If they do that, then they don't run foul of the law. I remember during the public hearing, some people were also kicking against the abolition of these LCDAs because they felt that they are bringing governance closer to the people and they are impacting on the lives of the people. So they didn't want them scrapped. So if they don't want that to happen, then they can fund them directly from the IGR of the states. But again, in their wisdom, they felt that making them administrative council will better serve the purpose. So again, it's now left for Lagosians to continue to engage and see how they strengthen those subnational governance systems at the grassroots level. However, for now, based on that law, the 20, and based on the substituting judgment, only the 20 local governments are recognized by law.
So in terms of funding then, what would be your suggestion? Because you made a valid point saying that the idea of creating the LCDs, and it's not just in Lagos, I think one or two other states, I'm not sure of Kano state as well, have LCDs. So in terms of funding, what would be your recommendations?
Like I said, if any state believes that they want to create more LCDs or administrative councils or administrative centers, whatever they want to call them, they can fund those those centers from their IGR rather than withdrawing money from the federation, monies that come from the federation account to those local governments. They can fund them from their IGR if they have the resources. And if they don't have, maybe they have now made them, you know, within the administrative system, you have the local government. From the beginning, you have wards, you have local government, you have states, then the federal government. The wards are the closest administrative units to the communities or to the grassroots. So I wonder what difference the wards and the administrative councils will be serving in this instance. But again, with regards to funding, any state that wants to create or establish or sustain those administrative centers or councils or LCDAs can fund them from their IGR if they so wish. But they cannot draw monies from those local governments to fund those local governments. However, based on the law passed by the local governments, the bill before the Lagos House of Assembly, like I said, I've not read the details. What they are thinking about is to give responsibility to each LGA to fund administrative centers under their own jurisdiction. How that will going to pan out, I don't know. But the biggest responsibility will lie on the state who created them in the first place to fund them.
What are your thoughts about states in which the party at the state level wins all the local government seats in those states?
I think it's a big challenge, and again, it's part of our democratic evolution. Now that we are saying strengthen local government systems, now that we are saying strengthen governance at the grassroots level, now that we are saying let those local governments be independent and funding should go directly to those local governments, every state governor will want to ensure that he has firm grips of those local governments. Because you know, for any governor to win election, for any political party to win governorship election, it must be in control of the local government. So it's more or less politics. Each state government, based on their own self-survival instincts, will want to control the local government at their own level. And unfortunately, the framers of the 1999 Constitution, believing that man is rational, believing that just like copying from other democracies, giving the responsibility to the states to conduct local government elections, thinking that they will rise above parochial interests, give them the power to conduct elections. But unfortunately, that has not been the case. Each state has now leveraged on that opportunity to ensure that they have control over the electoral process, to ensure that their party wins. We've also seen situations where, like what is happening in Rivers, what is happening in Kano, and what is happening in other states, ensuring that the process of appointing of the SEC, the funding of SEC, and everything is within the firm control of the state government. So there is no accountability within that process. There is no independence of those electoral bodies. So they dance to the whims and caprices of the government in power. And if that is the case, then our electoral system at the local government will continue to be that way, except one, the constitution is either amended to allow for INEC to conduct those elections, thereby creating some distance, or strengthen those SECs in such a manner that they become independent. That will take time, and I want to give it the next 4 election cycles, where people will continue to build the capacity of those SECs to be able to conduct independent elections. That is not going to be something that will happen in the short term. We have to look at the medium to long term, except that power is given to INEC to conduct election, and INEC for now has become a little bit strengthened, even though they still have its own challenges. But I think comparatively, if INEC is conducting local government election as we saw in 1999, definitely it was going to be different. In 1998, it's definitely going to be different from what we are seeing at the states currently.
Would it not be a bit untidy or even suicidal for somebody who is from another party, not from the party at the center, at the state level, if he wins a local government election in that state? Would that not be a bit, I don't even know the word to use.
Suicidal?
No, I think... But we've had examples of that in this Fourth Republic. You remember, in the first administration of Governor El-Rufai, he created an enabling environment for local government elections to hold. And we saw where PDP won some local government in Kaduna. We also saw something like that in Nasarawa State, where the opposition party won some seats. Heaven did not fall. But again, after the first tenure, the second time, no governor agreed to test that again or provide that enabling environment for that kind of a thing to happen. So it must take a reform-minded governor to rise above, self-interest, to want to create lasting legacies, to ensure that systems functions, to ensure that there is free and fair elections. It must take a statesman to be able to allow that to happen. But the average politician that we have these days and the system that we operate, I want to believe that even if I made governor today, I'm not sure if I want to maybe do things different than even if I wanted to. The party, my supporters, will not agree for me to allow that kind of open system because it's going to be suicidal and it may be counteractive. So it has to be a systemic change that must create that enabling environment. And that is why for some of us, we believe that maybe a central system, electoral body conducting elections may do the magic. But again, when you talk to the state government, they will tell you that, look, we practice a federal system, so each state should be allowed to control their own affairs. Some will also tell you that allowing the federal government or INEC to conduct local government elections will now be allowing the federal government to have influence in the local government. So it's everybody protecting their own space. And that will continue to happen until systems are changed.
Let's talk about protecting the workers. One of the issues, you organized an engagement a few weeks, or maybe about 2 months ago, where one of the issues discussed was salaries for local government workers, including teachers at the local government levels. What can you say? What's the upside? What are the risks to look at? A kind of SWOT around funding
of the local governments on the one hand and paying teachers and other workers, what are the issues and what are the things to look out for?
Thank you, Ayo, for that very important question. But we must unbundle the issues. One, maybe taking a cue from what I read from the Anambra example, I want to say that there is a presumption on the part of state governors who believe that local government chairmen, in quote, are corrupt or they are inefficient, and if they are given resources, may not be able to manage those resources by themselves. I hear statements like maybe not going back to Egypt and reminding us of what happened before 1999, where teachers were owed salary, and believing that when you give local government chairmen the opportunities and the funding, they will mismanage those resources. And because of that, there must be some level of control. That is on one hand. The second part of it are structural issues, which find its roots in the Constitution. And that, again, will bring us back to what the Anambra example, where I heard Governor Soludo talking about the need for coordination, the need for joint funding, and the issue and the need for cooperation among the three tiers of government, saying that no particular tier is independent of the other. That, to some extent, is true. Because if you look at the Constitution, in the fourth schedule, Section 1 talked about the functions of local government, but when you come to Section 2, it talks about that local governments shall participate on three issues. One, funding of primary, vocational, and adult education, in the provision, not funding, provision of adult, primary, and vocational education. Two, in the provision of healthcare. And three, on agriculture. So if it is participation, the question has always arisen, participation to what extent? What is the extent of the participation of local government? Who are the participants? What is the framework for defining that participation? And that is why today, primary education has been abandoned on local government by states and federal government to a large extent, and use the resources of states, of local government to pay teachers through the Joint Account Allocation Committee. With the judgment of the Supreme Court, now funding going directly to to local government, the question now arises, from which purse are we going to pay teachers? And remember, the teachers are not staff of local government. They are staff recruited by the states, and they are posted across the states. So no particular local government owns teachers. No particular local government owns healthcare workers. So who will pay them? From which purse are they going to pay them? So the main thing to do from the structural perspective is the definition of roles of the local government with regards to funding of primary education, with regards to primary healthcare delivery, and agriculture. What is the role of the states? What is the role of the local government? And what's the role of federal government? And because of the absence of clear definition, you see that confusion. And that is why today you see federal government building primary healthcare centers at the local government level, and nobody owns them. They are non-functional because the local government will tell you it is not us. It is a federal government program.
I see that we still...
those are all issues.
Yeah, there's still a lot. I mean, you have already said it, that we should be looking at the next 4 election cycles at the local government. That's about 12 years, gosh, before we are able to get to cruising level at the local government levels. That's a tough one, so to speak. And so
if we are to remain, no, I think if we are to go wait for the CX to continue to organize to the point where they will be effective. That's what I said.
I am not sure.
It is now through constitutional amendment.
Yeah,
it's a different thing.
I'm not even sure that the INEC is very, very happy to take on this burden. But hey, what do I know? Thank you so much for your time this morning. Truly appreciate your time. John Mutu is National Coordinator, Democracy Vanguard. Thank you for your time.
Thanks for having me.
Okay. We have spoken about quite a lot of things, and we're going into the lifestyle segment shortly. And we're talking about something that, people say, we have a cancer in governance that's growing in a way that we don't want it to grow.
Yes. So we must find a way to
nip it in the bud. Kill it. Gosh, it's not catfish that you want to... to want to kill it. At least, oh, by the way, that word of the day.
Caterwaul.
Caterwaul. You haven't seen your text. I haven't seen any message from you about caterwaul. What does it mean? And use it in a sentence. I know that some people naturally want to use that word in line with what we have been talking about. Unless if you know someone in Nigeria who caterwauls a lot,
let us know.
Let us know. In the meantime, lifestyle is next.
Can you carry your body? Well, if you can, glory be to God.
Only the healthy can.
And if it's a leg pain you have, or something as simple as that, and because of that you're unable to move, please thank your stars and thank your God.
Something as simple as...
Suppose it was something more serious, and as a result of it, you can't carry your body, as Mike Abdul was singing just now. Suppose it was cancer. Diagnosis of cancer is a highly stressful event. It is commonly associated with depression and has been shown to increase the number of suicides.
Can't imagine it.
No, I can't. So how do you deal with a diagnosis of that nature? That is what we're going to tackle our doctor with today. We have a lifestyle doctor, Dr. Bukola Agumbiade. Good morning.
Good morning, Ma. Thank you for having me.
The very thought of this topic is making me sad already. Because just this morning, I was watching a video where a guy was saying, because he was diagnosed with cancer, and when there was some test that he did, and the doctor said to him that the result would not come out until 4 days thence.
Gosh.
And he told the doctor, I will die before the 4 days are over.
Oops.
And it's not the cancer that will kill me. I am sure that just thinking about it, I will die before the 4 days are over. So that tells us exactly how stressful it is to receive that kind of news from a doctor. So, Dr. Bukola, how does one deal with something as serious as that? Something as life-changing as, I'm sorry, the tumor that we found is malignant?
I honestly think the perspective is very important, because I remember in the 1990s, 1990, 1991, HIV was something that if you tell any patient they have HIV, they see it as a death sentence. And today is no big deal. People are living with it. So I think, yes, we're having a cancer epidemic right now, but we should just come to terms with it that it's just like any other diagnosis. And it will pass.
Like any other diagnosis. That's easier said than done.
No, because we would lose too many people. Like the epidemic is so high right now that we cannot afford to have all these numbers of people to just give up on life. But they have a lot to still give.
Why is that so? Why are the numbers so high?
So high. I think it comes with this, it comes with the evolution in the society, the technological evolution or the advancement and all of that. We are stressed and we are not eating right, we are not sleeping well, we are not, it's just the simple things, but of course, it's as a result of the stress.
Stress.
Yes.
Is what causes cancer.
Is a major factor that causes cancer. We have two types of stress. It could be the physical stress. It could be an oxidative stress. Even the physical one will lead to oxidative stress inside the cell. So it could be the ones you are going through by yourself or yourself, or the ones your cells are going through inside your body.
Slow down. So stress.
Yes.
is the, okay, let me use the word that we usually use. Stress is the causative agent.
No, it's not it's a major causative agent. It's a major. It's a major. We can actually trace over 80% of cancers to stress. Over 80%.
And stress is a function of lifestyle.
It's a function of lifestyle, yes.
So how do you then explain children who have cancer? What kind of stress are they going through when they're not paying school fees, they're not paying house rent?
The genetic faults due to the stress that have been passed down to them.
Oh,
congenitally, yes.
So it's also genetic.
Yes, you can pass down that faulty gene. When your gene becomes faulty because of a stressful life, you can pass it down to the next generation.
Oh.
It's called epigenetic change.
Okay, so please educate. I know that, we hear a lot about the things, the food we eat, and a number of other things like that. But when you say stress, a good number of people watching you right now are hearing this for the first time. So please help us understand exactly what we are dealing with here.
Okay, let me start from the food. What most of us do not understand is, as complex as we are as human beings, we are also a very simple machine. And the thing is, the food is like a software. We are not an entity, we are a process. For everything you put into the body, your body is just meant to convert it. We are a biochemical being. Our body converts whatever we eat into the usable form, which is the ATP. So if you are putting in too much fuel, or your body is not metabolizing the fuel we are putting in well enough, it causes oxidative stress inside the cell.
So the engines that are supposed to do the conversion are stressed?
Are stressed, yes.
Okay. So when you say stress, the stress now many people watching you right now know is stress at work, stress of going to the office and coming back, stress
in traffic.
Emotional stress.
Yes. Stress of that landlord give me a quick notice. There's a friend of mine.
I don't have money to pay school fees.
A friend of mine, Alero, I think I mentioned it earlier. He got the notice that government was coming to pull their house down. So they had 2 days to live. That stress alone.
It's killing on its own.
He wasn't the only one, of course. There are several people in that same house, the owner of the house, and several other, stuff like that. How do you deal with that kind of thing?
Okay, let's start with what those kind of stress, what it does to you is you won't breathe deeply. You won't be breathing deeply when you're under stress. When you're under stress, it's like you're running from a lion. Even though there's no physical lion, but the lion is imaginary in your brain. So your adrenal glands start producing a lot of adrenaline. Cortisol will be produced. Cortisol is to make energy available for you on the go. And cortisol is like glucose. To fuel we won't say because you want to run from lion, go and drink glucosate boost first. No, now, the body knows how to pull it out from your system to make the energy available for you on the go. And when you have this happening, one of the things that happens is vasoconstriction. Your vessels become constricted because the blood is flowing. So you're not breathing deeply at that point. So the oxygen getting into your system during those periods is very short. And oxygen is life. So that is a major thing that really, because when you're stressed like that, there's vasoconstriction, you're not breathing deeply, then there's something we call suppressor genes in our body. It becomes inactivated. Those suppressor genes are the ones that are supposed to suppress the cancer cells that are in your body. But that suppressor gene will become inactivated, and of course, cancer will have a free day to replicate.
So essentially, you're saying when those chemicals are produced by the body, they're supposed to be used up immediately. But because there was no lion to chase,
it was just in your mind chasing you. And it was going on for a really long time. That's why we call it chronic stress. It's subtle and it goes on for a really long time. Like landlord gave him quick notice. Maybe his bank is expecting money from somebody,
Children
but bank network
out.
is giving him problem again. He has a
Are you saying somebody's story?
Multidimensional stress.
Multidimensional stress. So it just keeps going on. It just keeps going on for a really long time, and the body just gives in at some point.
Like an ache,
yes.
not a pain.
No, it's
just
not
there.
a pain. It's not a pain. You won't even know it's happening. It's not a pain. You won't know it's happening.
Just humming away.
Yes.
So, how does one? Because those situations will happen in our lives. It's a given, right?
Yeah.
The school fees of your children's education will be suddenly increased. It's not part of your budget. It will happen. So, how do you prepare your body, your metabolism for such things?
Okay, what you do is control the ones you can. And the ones you can is your food. For example, don't overburden that body with too much fuel or too much unrefined fuel or overprocessed fuel that will give it its own stress so that by the time the external stress comes, the body can deal with it. And of course, one of the easiest things to do when you're under stress is to breathe very deeply. Try and it should be an habit, just from that habit that when you're stressed, when you have a lot going on your mind, you breathe very deeply. It helps. But of course, don't cause problem for yourself.
So breathing deeply can still cause problem.
No, I said don't cause problem. I said don't eat the wrong things beforehand, so that when the life stress comes, the body is not stressed on its own, such that it's able to chest it.
How about those who stress eat? Once they are stressed, is to just be eating.
Yes, it happens.
Okay.
Yes, it happens. But of course, if you have to stress eat the right things. If you want to stress eat, eat coconuts now.
Don't
By the
eat
time
junk.
your job is paining you, you will stop. So why you stress eating a lot of fizzy drinks that contains a lot of glucose and all of that in it that would further stress your body? So if you want to stress eat, please stress eat, but stress it with carrots and coconuts and vegetables. Yes.
Not
so stress it
not
with
meat pie.
Not meat pie and cake.
Okay.
But those things are very good when you are stressed.
There we go.
They taste even better when you are stressed.
I think what happens with those things is because we've been wired like that. The people who manufactured or came up with this product, they really, how do we call it? They really got into our brains from when we're little. Like you see an advert of fizzy drinks and it's showing you, after a stressful day, you are sweating. Just take these drinks. So whether you like it or not, you have been colored. It's inside your head. So the next time you are sweating and you are looking like that image you have in your head, the first thing that comes to your mind is go and grab the fizzy drinks. So just re-engineer your brain by yourself and imagine munching carrots as very sweet.
Munching carrots.
Just for your information, color bead. Because in my ear, somebody is agreeing with her.
The verb to colobi.
So it's from the word colobi. You just put that out there, so you know. Okay, but I'm still finding it difficult to place the place of stress on. So when you say mindful solution to dealing with cancer, what are you talking about?
Okay, I would say mindful prevention, not solution.
Okay.
Because when you are looking for a solution, that means the problem has started.
It's already arisen.
So solve the problem before it happens.
Prevent it before it happens. So one of the mindful ways is to increase the oxygen that goes into your system. So you breathe deeply, you exercise. When you exercise, you are forced to take in a lot of oxygen in every form you like to exercise. It would force you to take a lot of oxygen. You hydrate well. Water is H2O, so you are getting some level of oxygen from your water. You sleep well. When you're sleeping, your brain is able to rest and all of that. So the oxidative stress inside your system is not enough. You eat right. If you are eating the right thing, then your body doesn't have to deal with overstimulation. Because when you're taking processed carbohydrates or processed foods, for example, it stresses the body out a lot. It stresses the body out a lot. So you reduce that on your own. So do those things, and that is how you can prevent. So mindful means every day you are living intentionally. You're not just going with the flow. You're not going with, oh, I'm stressed. It's whatever I see I would eat. No, you are mindful with every meal that you have to take. You are mindful with how you spend your day. You are mindful with what you put into your body and what you subject yourself to. Some people are toxic naturally. That is not being mindful that if you are toxic, you are not just being toxic to the people around you, you're also killing yourself. In fact, 80% of the time, you are killing yourself. You are killing yourself.
Suicide.
Exactly. So you are mindful with everything you do. You are very conscious. You are living intentionally every day. So those are the mindful prevention.
Is there a role for meditation?
Yes, there is. Because if you are meditating, you are most times when you are meditating, that is you living, you being present in your body. A lot of people are on auto run. They are just it's just going. So when you are meditating, you are forced to be with yourself, and that is when you would notice. Some people even have symptoms. We've had clients who would walk in and you'll be like, did you notice you had this pain or this symptom? They're like, no. And after meditation sessions, because there are times we have mind coaches around us who would meditate with them, and they will come back 5 minutes later and be like, I think I was having a headache. I was like, how did you forget that you were having a headache? And it's because this person was functioning on auto run. So they were not sensitive enough to listening to themselves.
Not paying attention.
They were not paying attention,
So it's also possible that your body speaks to you, but you're not listening.
Yes. Yes. We see that a lot. We see that a lot.
Give us an example.
Okay, for example, I've seen women who, you're having difficulty getting pregnant, and what was your last menstrual date? She doesn't know.
Wait a minute.
But what was your account balance 2 weeks ago? They know. So they don't.
Don't you know your own account balance 2 weeks ago? Who will forget account balance?
But I know every other thing I'm supposed to know too. And in that instance, this person does not know why. For a woman, for example, we have 4 cycles throughout the months. So we are like 4 different personalities in a month. But most women do not even know. They don't know that, oh, this is the reason why I was nice last week, and this week I'm not nice. They don't understand that, okay, it's the hormones. They are not even living in their body to understand. So,
well, just for your information, it's a woman that said it. I didn't.
I just gave an example. Maybe I should give an example for a man.
Just for your information, I'm just saying, it's a woman that said that they don't know themselves all through the month. I didn't say it.
I didn't say all women. I said some women.
Women, yeah.
Some.
Okay.
So there are those who, this absence from oneself, can it be avoided? Is it possible for one to say, okay, I want to really pay attention to myself? Most of the time, particularly those who can watch television, they are mostly in urban parts of the world, even urban Nigeria, for a station like this. And it's always on the go. Everything is always on auto, as you said. We have little time to pay attention to the things that need to be paid attention to. Everything has to be fast. Fast food, fast water, fast this, fast that, everything.
Fast transport.
Fast transport, so where do we have the time to sit? You're saying that it costs us, but what can one do?
I think that is why you have a choice, really. You should serve or live from within, not be on an auto run. No, it shouldn't. It shouldn't be an option. It should be a decision you would have to make to serve and live from within yourself, not just follow the flow. So it's very easy. Just make meditation a regular thing you do, or checking in with yourself a regular thing you do. Speaking to yourself. I don't mean just saying something, but checking within yourself. Hello, how am I doing? How is it? Live from within.
So tell yourself the truth.
Tell yourself the truth.
Nobody will tell you.
Just check in with yourself all the time. Don't just live out there. Live from within. It's a decision that has to be made. You don't have a choice, because there's no point you be on auto run. Last, the auto run will mess up your health and you lose everything you got from the auto run. So what's the point? And you'll be forced to. And nature, you can't cheat nature. It's the truth. It's a golden statement. You cannot cheat nature. If you don't find time to sit within yourself and live within yourself every day, no problem. You'll be admitted in the hospital and you won't have a choice to be by yourself.
Can you be nice?
Okay. It's the truth.
Can you be nice?
It's the truth. I think I'm not nice when people can prevent. But at that point when they cannot prevent again, I'll be very nice.
Okay. I'm thinking...
Some doctors.
Some doctors?
No, some doctors are harsh when you are sick. Me, I won't be harsh when you are sick. But when you have to prevent, I'll be harsh.
So that you will not be harsh later.
So that I will not be harsh later.
Okay. I'm not going to ask you what happens when your harshness was ignored. And then I won't ask you. But, so I'm assuming that the stress that you're talking about here now doesn't only cause cancer.
Yes.
What other conditions are we at the risk of?
At the risk of hormonal imbalance. And when we say hormonal imbalance, most people just assume it's just fertility related. When you hear hormonal imbalance, it's just fertility related. No. Hormonal imbalance, even being diabetic, is an hormonal imbalance. Because your insulin is an hormone. So when you don't have enough insulin, or your body is no longer responsive to insulin, is an hormonal imbalance. In fact, the hormones that are related to fertility are just maybe 20% of all the hormones. We have over 50-something hormones in our body. So hormonal imbalance is a major thing, and it shows its face in so many conditions, like diabetes, like being hypertensive, like even having arthritis. It shows up in so many ways, because our hormones are the catalyst in the body. We are biochemical beings, so you need the catalyst to speed up the body reactions.
Yeah. One of the questions that I know that Alero doesn't like being asked is about, don't like you talking about, is food. It's about food and the things that we can eat. You agree, right? Okay. So in order to avoid, as we say, stories that touch, what are the precautions to take in terms of nutrition?
Keep it simple, as close as it can be to nature. Keep it really simple. Close to the farm. Take it unprocessed, unsweetened, unadulterated,
unsweetened.
Go hard small of it.
Well is WELL. It doesn't make caterwaul.
Okay. So we should eat more vegetables, more fruits. What else?
More grains. Avoid processed food as much as you can.
Wait, let's just be clear. Roasted corn is processed food.
No,
but the roasted... No.
It is processed.
Processed, but it is still in its natural form.
Roasted corn?
It's in its natural form.
So
how far is it from the farmer?
Oh, because you have roasted. You want to eat it raw?
It is processed.
Okay,
food.
so cooked rice is also processed.
It's also because it's been cooked.
Yes.
Okay, let's say ultra processed then.
They don't come again now.
Oh.
And now that is when you now turn that corn.
She was waiting
into
for
so
you at the
many
traffic
things.
light.
Well,
It is when that corn
will
has been
use it.
turned to something else. But you said roasted corn. It is still in its natural state. It was just heated up to make it
Wait,
edible.
it's good that he chose corn. You know, sweet corn. It's not natural, is it?
Sweet corn. I think there are two types. Are you referring to the canned sweet corn?
No. Corn on the cob.
That
And it is sweet.
Yes.
It's a sweet.
Yes.
It's natural. I think it's a genetic modification or something. Yeah.
GMO. Okay.
I think they just worked on the genetics or something. I don't know much about sweet corn as such, but I think it's genetically modified. That is what they call them.
so is that
genetically
one
modified.
close to the farm?
Of course, it's still better than the canned one.
It's not, okay.
It's still better than the canned
it's not
one.
processed.
Reason being that the canned one has a lot of preservatives. It has a lot of sodium to preserve it and all of that. But if it's still in its cob, it's still better than.
Now, just let's take this on, as a final note. She talked the other time about children, and they don't think of anything like that. But it's their parents that will give them food. Do you think it is necessary for parents to investigate the nature of their children before they give them food? How do we help children also to develop this kind of lifestyle that will be mindful?
Yes, I think it's very important for parents to do some, know themselves first, because you can't pour from an empty cup. If you don't know yourself as a parent, I think it's easier. By the time you know, the father knows himself, he knows what he reacts to, you know what he cannot take or what is not good for him. You can take it, but it might not be good for you. So if the father is living mindfully and the mother is living mindfully, it is easy now to just pass it on to the kids, because the kids, whatever gene they are carrying is definitely from both of them. So once they have two mindful adults who have kids, they can pass that mindfulness to the kids. The kids can be so different from the parents.
Who doesn't eat meat, doesn't eat fish, doesn't eat sugar. She's 4 years old.
Uh-oh. Tell them.
You put any protein on her plate that looks like meat or fish, she's going to just throw it at you.
Wow.
She doesn't want it, and she will not eat it.
And the truth is, actually, kids are not just the gene of the parents, but they're actually carrying genetic information from a lot of generations. So you might want to find out, there might be a great-grandfather or great-grandmother that is behaving like that. Or some children are just picky eaters. Some children are just
there are some children,
that's just their nature.
They can't pick anything.
Yes.
First of all, they don't like vegetables. And there are some
don't even like to see the sight of onions in their food.
You can change the form. You can change the form. We've had to deal with an infant like that, a toddler who doesn't like fish, meat, and everything. So what they do is they blend it and add
as long as she doesn't see it.
So you just blend and you change the form.
Dr. Konla Agumbiade, thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having me.
Coming to tell us how to prevent.
Talking to some people about what not to eat.
But why is it always about the other person?
Dr. Bukola Agumbiade, lifestyle doctor, thank you very much for your time this morning.
Thank you, sir.
You may let me not say that one. It's time to laugh. I hear that's medicine, right?
Yes.
Yes, so laughter is also medicine. This one that you are frowning.
It's time for the home stretch. I asked our guest if he understood Yoruba before we came on air. because he's an Igbo boy. In fact, aptly, his name is Happiness because he just makes you happy. So I asked him if he spoke Yoruba. He said yes. He understood Yoruba very well because I had just said, watching that clip, I just said, Omode Yoruba. And his response was, that's me Ogbadu. That's what we used to eat. Happiness, Ikechukwu.
Yes, ma'am.
Good morning and welcome to Sunrise.
Thank you for having me. I'm a fan of the show.
But Ogbadu.
Very well. That's correct. Shebi the Ogbadu that brought me.
Oh, it's the lack of Gbadu that brought you here.
Exactly.
So you're a fan of the show?
Yeah.
We need ACO. Fans are dated.
You do intelligent jokes. You know this kind of jokes, they don't work.
So it's a joke?
No, it's a joke. But all these kind of jokes, they don't work in Agege. You can do these jokes in VI, Ikoyi, those where they are sound people. If you do this joke in Abulegba, they will tell you, Kilo Tuku. Where's the remaining? They won't pay you.
Oh, by the way, Happiness is known in the circuit as H Prince.
What drove you into comedy?
Oh, God.
What drove me?
You took the words out of my mouth.
Yeah,
well, I don't know why you had to use that line, but...
Okay, what made you go into comedy?
Yeah.
It drove you?
No, it actually drove me.
Uh-huh.
It actually drove me. So it wasn't something that I really wanted to do. Even if So my dad was a failed comedian. He was a failed stand-up comedian in Delta State. Yeah, he didn't succeed. I'm glad. Hope you watch this, then you get motivated.
It's okay.
Sorry, sir.
It's not a serious thing. Don't worry.
That's where you got it from.
He's not bad enough. He runs in this thing. So my dad is a funny guy. My mom too, extremely funny. So I didn't really grow up with my dad that much because all the time my dad was in Europe. So I grew up with my mom. But my mom would tell me how very unserious my dad can be. If my dad is with you, you will laugh from morning till night. So I knew it was something that was in the family blood. And my mom liked
something.
Yeah, my mom liked to watch comedy. She loved watching comedy because at work she was always stressed. So Night of 1,000 Laughs never ceased from our house. She buys the tapes and all of that. But I didn't want to do comedy. I wanted to do music. That was what I wanted to do. So the H Prince wasn't for comedy. That brand name was for music. So, and at the time where I started, because I started in 2015 professionally. So at the time where I started, I noticed that people who come into the business always want to bear funny names. They were like, from the funny name, you know that this person is a comedian. So when I started being H Prince, and when I come up, I do comedy, people be like, this guy, you don't want chop for this work. Which one be H Prince? So you go be anyway, come. I said, no. The idea is that it wasn't comedy I wanted to do. So when I now eventually started doing comedy, I couldn't change the name again because people were already calling me that. So it was music.
How did the music part go?
So he ended with, you know those Egwadugu that will say, well, I want you on corner, my worry. That's where it ended. Money didn't come out. I would just rap because I used to rap, I sing, then I play music instrument because my mom used to hold the key to our church then. So anytime she goes to clean, I'll start trying my hands on. So it was, but the first day I did comedy, my pastor's wife, she already knew that there was this funny bone in me. She noticed it, even in choir practice. So they set me up one day. We had this Thanksgiving in church and the MC did not show up. I said, Happiness, you will do this thing. I said, Mommy, I don't do for drum. Now drum I want. I said, no, you will go, I will go leave this night. All those things where they do for choir practice, they make people laugh. Come do it here. And that was how the first time I did it. And I didn't know what I was saying. I was just mimicking people, like quiet. I was just mimicking Usher. People were laughing. They were spraying me money.
Yeah.
So when we got to, my mom just looked at me and said, you will do this work. I said, I don't understand. No, you will do this work. All the music where they say, anything come out. What other sign do you need to know that? And may Argentus rest in peace because my mom is no longer here with us. But guess what? Ever since then till now, that's how I've been living. That's how I've been eating. People have never paid me to do anything in my life than to make them happy. So I guess she was right after all.
I'll cry you.
No, I don't heal.
You don't?
I don't heal from the distance.
Now, how before Alera will say I take the question out of her mouth. Yeah, ask your question. But she said I took it out of her mouth again.
When did you start comedy?
2015, professionally. I've been doing it in class. I didn't know it was even comedy. You just stand up and, you know.
People laugh.
I didn't know it was, but professionally.
And those ones were not paying you.
Yeah, no, those ones were not paying. Just, those guys, that guy are very funny. But professionally, where I started getting gigs, events, MC, that was 2015.
No. This industry that you are in, don't you feel that it's a bit saturated now?
Yeah. I think that's a very good question. That's a very good question. And I think it's about time that we, you know, create some sort of a body. You know, every profession has a professional body. Say, for example, the accountants have ICANN. The HR, I think they have their own body too. Yes. Managers, NIM, all those stuff. I think we need to create something like that so that the real guys that have this talent would not be disrespected. Because what I discover is a lot of people are coming into it because they know it's easy to enter. Then they are mediocres. They don't really know this. They don't really have the skill set, but they know the business. So they leverage on the business side, make all the money, then start paying the real guys that have the talent. So the being oversaturated here is because we have not really created a system for scrutiny for the people that are coming in, right? So that anybody can just come, and where there is no policy or regulation, I mean, you can't sabotage, and infiltration is inevitable.
I'm trying to imagine a chartered institute of
comedians. Well, maybe not chartered.
You could have. It doesn't have to sound that serious. I think in Nollywood...
No, it will be Scattered Institute of Comedians.
If it's scattered, nothing will work there. It has to be. But in Nollywood, the actors have something like, they have Actors Guild. Directors have, do you understand? So, I mean, they have somewhere to fall back. So these things help to monitor the people that, you know, come in, and their behaviors and their everything, all of so, you know.
You know, one of the issues that your sector of the entertainment industry has had to contend with is that of the dichotomy between hosting an event and serving as a comedian.
Yeah.
You know, now people now get one for the price of two.
Yeah.
Or is it two for the price of one?
Two for the price of one.
You know? So they need a comedian and they need an MC or an event host.
They hire a comedian.
So we hire a comedian.
Yeah.
So they just hire a comedian who can host the show.
Host the show, yeah.
And then you only charge them for one of the two. What do you make of that?
So for me, I think why people have that...
but it's not everyone that has the gifting or the skill set for hosting an event.
Yes. I agree with that. I was getting to that. Okay. So why I think a lot of people have that perception is because of the two. Both parties use the microphone. So they believe that anybody that holds the mic can do both, or can do this or do the other. But the truth of the matter is there are two different things. Though they have similar ethics, like in terms of, you know, because stand-up comedy is like public speaking, so the same way as hosting. But the difference there is knowing the mood of the environment and the people. And truth be told, if you are a comedian first, I think you should go learn how to MC. Maybe you can, like, I can speak for myself. I worked with a few people because I knew I was good. Comedy-wise, I could tell jokes, I was funny. But the hosting event part, it didn't come to me naturally, right? And it was something that I wanted to do so that, of course, when they collect for here, they collect for there. But I knew that if I have to do it and make sense, I must not be mediocre at it. So I learned it. So you can learn. Do you understand? But some people, they want to jump the gun. They don't have that patience. If I don't crack joke already, his mic is the same thing. But anchoring events and doing stand-up are not the same. They are very different things. In fact, you can, if you see me anchoring some corporate events, you will not even know that I'm that funny guy, because there are things, there are lines you shouldn't cross. You will only know that if you're a professional MC. You might not know that as a professional MC. So is I don't know how to put it. It's deceitful until you know the basics. You mix the two, so it's not the same actually. But you need the skill set. There are some skill set from the two that works, but there are still rudiments that you need to follow.
This is October already. The year is coming to an end. Do you have any things planned for Christmas?
Yeah, of course. So I'm going to kill one chicken this Christmas, and I would eat it. That's what I plan now.
That's murder. That's his murder.
God that gave Abraham this thing this thing.
No, that one was Asun.
It was Asun. Okay. So let me paraphrase. As soon as I hold the chicken. So for this year, I'm just concentrating on my comedy club. I have this comedy club I run, because I'm someone that's really passionate about the comedy club culture, because I think that is the grooming point for every comedian. And if we lose social media, that's the best way you can retain your clientele, because those people see you more often, you perform to them more often. It's like a community for you, right? So that's the only thing I've been doing for the year. I have one I do, jokes and bands, jabs with H Prince at Ikeja. Then for next year, my body of work is ready. That's my next comedy special, comedy show. Yeah, written, ready. So we're going to be having that next year, and then some other projects.
Are you also going to join the filmmaking club?
Definitely. Everybody is tapping into that, because, okay, I know why you're asking this question. I was one of my colleagues that was on this show, and you asked him the same question.
Really?
Yes, something similar to this.
Who are it?
No, I don't know. Let me not mention his name.
Okay.
So, but I like the fact that people are now seeing that comedians make great actors, and I'll tell you why. What do they do in film? What do they do in movie? Dialogue. What do we do in stand-up? Monologue.
Both of them have log.
All of them have log. A comedian is on stage cracking jokes and he's telling you 3 stories. Sometimes he acts out all the characters.
True.
In one story. True. Just to make you laugh. So why can't he act in a film? If he can juggle 3 characters in one joke to make you laugh, why can't he take on one character and kill it? So the distance is not far. You'll be seeing me in movies, a lot of them, don't worry.
Don't
Very
forget
soon.
that.
Yeah.
It's stand-up, not
And you're going to be producing as well?
Producing, if I see the money. But for now, I think I've done some projects that are in the can. They're going to be out very soon. Series and all of that. Then I'll now look into producing if I want to. But I have some scripts that I've written myself, because I also write. There's a lot of bread there too.
He said stand-up and act. In movies, it's not stand-up, it's run. In movie, you have to run, you have to walk. So are you walk-up comedians too, or run-up comedians?
No, there's nothing like that. We only have stand-up and sitcom.
Okay.
Sitcom is a type of film. You see?
You're actually looking for a way to...
No, I'm trying to tell you that there are scopes to it. They are interrelated.
Before you got into the industry, did you have fears?
No. So now I don't. Because I was sure that this was what I was meant for. Like, I was sure that this was what I was going to do.
Have you had a time when you was like...
Low season?
Yes, like...
yes, of course.
Man, what are they fine for here?
Yeah, so there's that. I mean...
Give us that story.
Man, okay, I'll just give you one story. I did a show in Ijebu. People are wicked. So they told me they would come. Sold tickets, did everything, So I was doing a diploma course there then. So I was going to leave. I said, let me just give them something now. Let me do one show. And I put in everything. Did posters, did flyers, ready. And I always prepare for my shows. I've written jokes, 1-hour jokes ready. And on the day of the show, we're just 15 in the hall. And I don't know what? You know, faith is good, but when you overdo it. So I now went to go and rent a hall that had upstairs. So it was very obvious that people didn't come. Do you know why I knew that there was? Do you know why I knew that show? Even the people that I hired, because I had bouncers, ushers, they didn't even take the show seriously. DJ was playing inside. They brought their own Bluetooth. Yeah, they were playing to let you know that they're not even sure they're going to have fun here. It was. It's funny now, but then that was the first time this job ever made me cry.
And he didn't chase you away.
No, he didn't. He didn't. My mom was with me in that show, and she was praying. My mom was very spiritual, so she came and I said, "Oh, people never come." She was speaking in tongues. I said, "Mommy, this thing what they see, I don't think say
more than tongues.
People they come here because there are 5 shows that same day in that same vicinity. It was painful after I had prepared and everything because I love my art. I put so much work into my craft. And people didn't show up. So when I went to the backstage, I was just saying, I was just crying. I said, God. But guess what? The following year, I did another show in Lagos and it was full, it was jam-packed. People were lapping.
Yeah?
That thing happened in 2018. Then I did a show in 2019 and people were lapping.
Okay. December 22. Yeah. Yes. Put it in your diary.
Yes, sir.
We have a show for you in this hall. You will be giving back to society.
Definitely, of course.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So just saying.
That's
DSS, by the way. DSS, for those of you who know it. No, it's not that DSS. It's our own December sunrise.
Tell them the full meaning, though. You know, Nigerians can be scared now.
They will think that you have been arrested.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me.
H Prince, whose real name is Happiness Ikechukwu. Thank you very much. And Ikechukwu closes our sunrise edition for today, the 26th day of October 2024, being the last Saturday in the month of October. A fresh edition will come to you next week, he being our strength. My name is Alero Edu, wishing you a happy weekend and see you next month.
I'm Ayo Makinde.
Bye, yo, as they say among the Joss.